And then let's talk about how to compute the profit by using a graph. So you can notice, look at this one, okay? I have the graph and then the market price is already given, okay, like a P star. Then this marginal revenue will equal to the price, right? So you can first mark marginal revenue here. And then according to profit maximization rule, it should satisfy marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, which means you need to find out the intersection point of marginal revenue and marginal cost, right? So go back to check this graph. Only at this point, okay, I will just mark it point A, okay? Only at point A is satisfied marginal revenue equal to marginal cost because point A is the intersection point of these two curves, okay? So then what can you do? From this point A, you can find out the correspondent output level, okay? So that will be the output which can maximize their profit. Then, how can we get the profit from this graph? So from this graph, you might notice if we have the A here, okay, the point A here, you can find out another corresponding point on average total cost, okay? So I can mark this as point B. So point B, from point B, we can find out the average total cost, which will equal to, I'll just write it down here, okay? This will be our average total cost. Then for point A, we can get the price level, right? Point 8, we can get output level and price level, okay? Therefore, how can we get the profit? The profit will always equal, so the profit will always equal to total revenue subtract the total cost, right? And total revenue here will equal P star times Q star, right? This is the total revenue. And then how about the total cost? Total cost will equal to average total cost times Q star, right? So finally, we can find out the profit will equal P star subtract average total cost and then times Q star. And very, very similar, you can find out this part on this graph, okay? It will just this area, okay? So this rectangle here represents for the profit, and this profit here from this graph is positive, okay? So this rectangle, okay, this shaded rectangle here is the profit that we can find from the graph. And most of the time, probably you might notice firms, sometimes they were losing money, right? Or sometimes firm can earn positive profit. So in the slides, we asked this question. If company now is losing money, so if company now is losing money, what can they do? Actually, there are two choices for companies if they are losing money. So the first choice, they can choose to continue to operate. So still stay in the market in order to minimize the cost, okay? The second choice will be just shut down the business and leave the market temporarily, okay? So these are the two choices when firm can choose if they are losing money, okay? So let's look at in which cases we will use which choice, okay? Let's look at the first one. So I put these two graphs together for you to easier compare with these two choices, okay? So let's look at the first one. You can notice at this first graph, okay, I put one here. At this first graph, I still have their market price equal to P star, okay? So I can also mark marginal revenue here. And then according to our profit maximization rule, we should satisfy marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, right? So this pink line here, pink curve here represents for our marginal cost. So we can find out the point. This point A, okay? I will still write it down, the point A. So the point A here will still satisfy marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Okay, so I just write it down. At point A, we have marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Okay, so point A will be our profit maximization point. And then what you can do, very similar to this graph, okay, we need to draw a vertical line, okay? So here we can find out the profit maximization quantity will be at Q star. And then you can also find out the average total revenue, right? So here will be at this point. So at this point, it will be their corresponding point on this vertical line on their average total cost. So I can mark it, this is our point B. So point B, here we can find out the average total cost. Okay, so I will just mark here. Average total cost. And you might notice average total cost now is higher than profit, is higher than the price, which means now the firm will losing money, right? And if firm, in this case, will firm just shut down the business or continue to operate in order to minimize the cost? So how can firms make decision? The firm need to compare with the benefit of leaving the market and the benefit of staying in the market. Okay, so we notice this area, this part will represent for the loss that firm keep continue production, right? So this area here represents for the loss. And if firm just leave or shut down a business temporarily, what does firm loss? What does firm loss? Shut down the business, the loss will be the fixed cost, right? The fixed cost, because firms already put the fixed cost, right? So which area represents for the fixed cost? I can mark another point here, okay? So find out another corresponding point on the average variable cost. I will just mark it as point C here, okay? So at this point C, you can find out average variable cost. Okay, so point C corresponding to average variable cost. And then you might notice the difference between average total cost and average variable cost would be average fixed cost, right? So you can notice if firm choose to operate, the loss will only be this area, okay, this rectangle. However, if firm choose to shut down a business, the loss will be fixed cost, which is larger. So this one equal to average fixed cost times the quantity, okay? So this part is larger than the firm's loss. Therefore, in this case, firms will choose to operate firms will choose to operate rather than shut down a business temporarily, because shut down a business temporarily, firm will suffer more loss. Okay, so in this case, firm would choose to stay in the market and operate in order to minimize their cost. Okay, now let's look at the second case. So in the second case, you might notice I also have the price level here, okay? So this price level, I can also mark the marginal revenue, okay? And then you can also notice, according to marginal revenue should equal to marginal cost, we can find out the corresponding profit maximization point, okay? That will be the point A here, okay? So point A satisfy marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. And this should be our profit maximization point. Then you can draw a vertical dash. After you draw this vertical dash, you can get the profit maximization quantity at Q star. And then you can find out this would be the corresponding point on average total cost curve. So point B here, we can find out average total cost, right? Therefore, if firm choose to operate, the loss will be, so if firm choose to operate, the loss will equal to average total cost subtract P star times Q star. Okay, so this will be firm's loss. However, look at if firm choose to shut down a business, what's firm's loss? You can find out the corresponding point on average variable cost. So this is point C. This is average variable cost. The difference between these two would be, this would be average fixed cost, right? So if firm choose to shut down a business, then the loss will be just the average fixed cost times the quantity. Therefore, in this case, okay, in this case, firms would choose to shut down the business because the loss is smaller, okay? This part is the fixed cost. Therefore, this is the two choices that firm can make when firm losing the money, okay, during the market. So you can notice this is the condition, okay? So this is the condition. You can notice the price lies between average total cost and average variable cost, okay? So if firm choose to operate, I will just write it down here, okay? If firm choose to operate, it should satisfy the price lies between average total cost larger than price, but price is larger than average variable cost. Okay, so if firm choose to operate in this case 1, it should satisfy this condition. If firm choose to shut down a business, what's the condition that firm should satisfy? Shut down a business, you can notice now the price smaller than average variable cost. The price is very, very low, even lower than average variable cost, okay? So these are the two choices that firm can make when the firm is losing money, okay? And I also give you some conditions at firm can shut down a business or firm can choose to operate even is losing money, okay?